Hi there, I'm Leanna Chamish.
I'm Brian St. August.
And welcome to the Actors Hot Tub. It's where we two actors do what we love. We talk about acting in an intimate setting, like we're sitting in a hot tub.
Come on and jump in.
All right, so what are we going to talk about today?
You had a great idea. It was to do with self-recording and Skype.
Yes. All right, well, I have to say, in this day and age, being able to audition for something when you're not physically present with the director in their hometowns or locations is wonderful. What a benefit we have in this time. So I have had situations where I have recorded myself on an iPhone doing a dramatic scene to show a director how I can perform, or I've used Skype and run lines with a director in order to obtain a part. I use my cell phone to record audio to get radio spots, and I use my home voiceover recording studio to send in samples to compete for spots. So I just think it's great. It really is a help in leveraging your time in order to take advantage of these technological tools. Have you had experience doing that?
Well, I'll tell you, I had experience both ways before this was available. There's a big sound stage in Wilmington, North Carolina. It was Sony Screen Gem soundstage. Dawson's Creek, One Tree Hill. There's a lot of Sandra Bullock movies were shot there. For me, for an audition, the famous casting office there is the Finn Cannons. For me to get there is a 10-hour drive. And so before the age of being able to video yourself or in some other way do a recorded audition, I used to drive all night to get to Wilmington, get a cup of coffee, go there, be totally road weary, and get up, and they'd have you do something that required you to react, which I couldn't react at all.
You were asleep.
Yeah. So now what I'm finding is that a lot of the roles that are with those people,
Yeah.
and for other projects all over the country, I'm able to do a video audition at home and send that to my agent, who then sends it on to the casting director. And the same thing with Skype. So,
Right. Yeah. As for the actual mechanics of it, it doesn't have to be that fancy. One movie role I got, my boyfriend videoed me sitting at a table drinking some wine and doing the lines because I was auditioning for an alcoholic mom. In other cases, I've gotten commercials on camera jobs by just setting up my Android phone. I have an Android. Facing myself on a music stand at my house while pointing at just a blank wall, and I've taken the floor lamp and I've goosenecked it to give myself some light, and I read the part. And that shows them my skill and personality, even if it's not the most technologically perfect situation. And I remember once you and I went out for coffee, and you got an email while we were having
That's
coffee that you were to audition for a radio spot, and you're like, "Oh my God, what do I do?" I said, "Let's go out to the car where it's quiet and sound isolated. I'll record you on my phone and I'll email it to your agent." And we did it. So
yeah,
it's
it was
doable.
great. Yeah, and I think I was on a next on the list. If the
Yeah.
person that they were hiring didn't do it, yeah.
So it was very effective audition, and it was even raining. I think we could sort of hear the raindrops on the car.
Raindrops on the car roof.
So
Yeah.
you have tools available to audition. And you told me a story when you got the Chick-fil-A commercial.
Yeah, I want to talk about that a
Yeah.
little bit
Yeah.
because the whole idea of Skype is pervading the entire industry. I mean, you might be at home, and a casting director might want to have a Skype audition with you, or you're right there in your own house doing it. But what I had, number one, I auditioned for the Chick-fil-A commercial, which I did shoot last summer in New York. And I did the audition in front of a regular casting director. When I got the call back the next week and had to go back up again, it was in the same office, but instead of the casting director being there was this gigantic screen. And on the screen was the director from California and the client. So I was Skyping in the casting director's office to the real casting director and the client by virtue of a Skype audition. And knock on wood, I was able to get that. But it's amazing how this happens. And so our suggestion, I think, is if you don't use Skype, begin to use it. Begin to bring it into your lifestyle a little bit so that if you get a call that requires you to do it, you won't have to run around trying to invent the approach. It's very easy, but it does take a little getting used to.
Right.
The same thing for looking at the type of work that you like to do. Like Leanna does a tremendous amount of voiceover work.
Yes.
So these audio auditions are very, very important to her. You have certain things that you use in order to do that well. What are some of those devices that you use?
Oh, sure. I mean, I could get into details about what kind of mic I use and software, which is great when I'm at home and can use all that gear. But really, it is effective to use your phone. So learn the tools that you have available. Like if you're out on the road and you do have to record an audio audition with your phone, I think it's better that you make the fast response to the request for the audition rather than go home and make everything perfect and delay by hours or a day or whatever might be necessary. So learn the tools. You, for example, for your video auditions, you have a camera and you've learned how to shoot yourself and download the videos to your computer and compress them out into emailable forms or uploadable forms. So just get to know that. I mean, it'll be hard to kind of get into specifics on every possible situation with you right now, but just be aware that you can do this and use the tools that you have available or start researching your options. And we can probably discuss this in the comments below the video.
I think that's a great idea. Let me just suggest to you there are a couple of things when you're doing video auditions that are basic, and they're things you need to keep in mind because they are the things that are most likely to turn off an agent or a casting director if these things aren't done correctly. Number one is make sure you have good lighting. Don't put yourself in a situation where there's shadows on your face, they can't make you out. Make sure that your background is clean, that you don't have clutter, you don't have pictures hanging, because anything that detracts from your presentation and from your eyes, you're making contact with them, is going to work against you. And I've gotten feedback on that from an agent through a casting director who said, you know, I thought Brian's thing was really good, but what was this thing hanging behind him? So take my lesson and use it for yourself. So good lighting, non-distract background, and try to frame it so it's right just above your head to about your chest level. And for all intents and purposes, with your slate and with your delivery, that should be fine.
I was just about to mention slating and other options, things. You should follow the direction that they give you in the audition notice. For example, Brian just said maybe frame like this. Well, maybe they want to see more, so listen to what they tell you to do. Also, pay attention to how they tell you to slate it, or if they want it slated. In a lot of my audio auditions, they don't want it slated. But in my video auditions, they usually do say, hi, I'm Leanna Chamish, and I'm auditioning for Royal Farms. And you take a beat, and then you do it. And also, file naming conventions. If the agency tells you, name this file with your name, the client name, the date, just follow their instructions. So it's Leanna Chamish, audition for GBMC, date whatever, and you send it in. So pay attention to that.
Excellent advice.
You can use things like attaching email, things, audio and video, but sometimes it gets clunky, it's too big. You may want to have Dropbox or some sort of other cloud sharing, Google Drive. There are others. What is the one that Apple uses? I think it's called AirDrop. Yeah, but large file sharing options. Have you done that?
No.
Any sort of cloud?
Well, Dropbox, yeah.
Right, Dropbox. Okay, let's just use that for an example. You've created a video audition, but maybe it's too big to email, that the agency's email rejects attachments over a certain size. So you are able to upload your video to Dropbox or another cloud service, copy a link to that, paste that link into your email and say, hey, agent, click this, and you will see my audition. And you can download it if the client chooses to do so.
And anyone having technical issues with doing this, I want you to send a note directly to Leanna. Put that comment on your comments, and I promise you, she will get back to you personally with the technical information you need in order to do that correctly, right?
I will need a salary for IT if we do that. So, how do you handle it? Like I said, I generalized a lot of things about different kinds of equipment, but I just want to point out that audio and video auditions in this day and age are possible and desirable, and you really should get on board. Do you have anything to add?
No, I would just say, and they're probable.
Yeah,
I would guarantee you that by the end of 2018, you will have done several of each of those.
absolutely.
It's just the way it's going.
So I'd love to have a conversation with you about this also. Please write in the comments below and like and subscribe to our channel so that every time we put out a new video, you'll be notified.
I look forward to hearing from you, and see you next time.
Thanks for joining us in the Actor's Hot Tub.
Bye-bye.